I'd like to read to you a little bit from one of my favorite books here. We're changing our relationship with time and being right now. Don't you feel it? Earth is slower than many souls are used to, and she is calling us to return to her cyclic sync. We have to go back in order to go forward. You're not here to save anyone but yourself. No one is here to save anyone but themselves. We must become responsible for our actions in the past, present, and future, as each of us transitions from one age to the next, as we dance with the patriarchal shadows and shake off those ways of being that once served us. We set ourselves free. We unbind ourselves from the cage of the past and realize that we each truly do have the key. As you're alive on the planet right now, you are in the front line of a group of souls who have the potential to bring about a planetary shift of the ages. This shift, this rebirth, is not a given, but it's a possibility. There's no question that these changing times, require great courage. Have faith and find strength in knowing that you're not doing this work alone. You're being called to be a midwife for metamorphosing mankind. No one is exempt. I know this work isn't easy. That's why not everyone is willing to do it with their eyes, mind, and heart open. As you dance through your own times of healing, know that it's not being done in isolation. Your personal work does affect the collective, just as the collective influences you personally. No cell or organ in the body works in isolation. Every person who frees themselves frees humanity a little more. Every person who heals themselves heals their ancestral lines a little more. New seeds of freedom are planted, and those seeds, with the right nourishment, have the potential to create a whole new humanity. One week ago, we experienced a return of Pluto to the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know when the last time that happened? Let me give you the exact date. July 4th, 1776. You know, throughout this year, I've told you several things. Number one, the illusion is crumbling. The Matrix is glitching. The holodeck is on the fritz. Number two, you are truly more powerful than you think or you can believe. And if you ever doubt, look at the extremes in your life, trying to pull you in one direction or another. And if you want to know what the extremes are, I can tell you that very easily. They deal in absolutes. If you are not on board with us, then you are against us. You being you is a threat to their paradigm, to their worldview. Why should we tolerate these people? You'll hear stuff like that. And it comes from both sides. There is no one side better than the other. They both do it. Because as long as they can box you, they can control you. Doesn't matter which side of the spectrum they fall on. All that matters to them is, are you on board? Are you of my church, or are you a heretic? And believe me that it doesn't matter which church it is. When and where they can, they love to root out and blame the heretic for all their ills. souls. But you are nothing without them. Have you ever noticed that? You know what shift I think has been happening? It's been happening since that 2012 thing happened. The shift is people are finding out slowly but surely. They've been lied to, they've been hoodwinked, and they've had enough of it. Turn on the TV, it doesn't matter which news station you watch. Lies, 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 lies. What are those lies doing? Well, they're putting you into a state of fear, of course. Today it's disease, tomorrow nuclear war. The day after that, aliens. Man-eating foes from Mars. Transdimensional reptilian things that will crawl out from under your bed if you do not do as we say. Sounds dramatic, doesn't it? Yeah, well, if you haven't noticed the hysteria crowd running around masking 4 or 5 times daily injections or whatever it is. And then, oh my gosh, they're gonna start throwing nukes at each other. Well, wringing their hands at a Nazi behind every blade of grass. I'll bet you're finding as tiring as I am. I really am. They can't stand to see you in a state of personal freedom, enjoying yourself, because, quite frankly, they're miserable. And that's just the bare bones fact of it. It's as plain as this coffee table right here. Just look at the news cycle. 24 hours up to the nanosecond fear porn, interspersed with buy the Acura, buy the Lexus, buy this insurance, buy that insurance. Protect yourself, give you peace of mind. Seems like conflicting messages. Wouldn't you agree? That's what I want you to see past. That's all I want out of you. I want you, watching this right now, not to take this at face value. If these messages don't resonate with you, think of someone, pass it along to them. They might benefit from it. Think of the power that you will have used to influence someone else's life. Because at the end of the day, had you not passed it along to them, they'd have never gotten this message. And had I not done this today, you might never have gotten it. You might not have gotten what you needed. And that's why I do these every day. So let's get down to it. I broke out the Tarot of the Divine deck today because, well, it just kind of occurred to me we really haven't used it in a while. And it's one of my favorite decks, and I hated to overlook it. So let's get down to it. So, feeling a bit of loss, are you? kind of feeling that emptiness now with that Five of Cups. Feeling a little like all hope is gone, right? But here's the problem with that Five of Cups. All it is useless regret without learning. Listen. You look back on that event, maybe that missed opportunity. Let me give you an example of this card right here. This card, during the 2008 crash, a lot of people were just not buying anything. Nothing at all. I'll say a lot of people. People like us. People who work for a living. People who, get up, punch a clock, do our thing, and then punch out and come home and all that good stuff. We weren't buying anything. We weren't buying stocks. We weren't buying real estate, assets, nothing. And then a few years later, when things started to kind of come back, we were like, man, you know what? If I had bought some of that land, or if I had had the mind to purchase some of that stuff at rock bottom prices, man, I'd be rolling in it by now. Right? Let's just say 10 years later, probably would have made yourself a multi-millionaire. 2008, when Bitcoin came out, when no one wanted it, when no one knew what the hell it was, when it was just a white paper on an obscure tech board somewhere, back when you could mine it, you could mine copious amounts of it with just a laptop. Just turn your laptop on, leave it running, and let it do its thing, and you'd wake up, you'd have several hundred Bitcoin in there. Back when no one wanted it. 10 years later, what did that look like? Man, if only I'd gotten in on that. And that's what we all said. Oh my goodness, if I'd only gotten in on that. Then March of 2020 happened. And of course, all those crypto prices and stock prices came tumbling down. They crashed hard. That's when I started really aggressively investing. And what was told to me was rather telling. I got told, not just by one person, it was by a few. Oh, what are you doing? Don't buy stuff now. But those same people always told me, man, I wish I'd purchased some real estate back in the 2008 crash. Oh man, I'd be rolling in it by now. Here it was, another crash. And no one was buying. Save for the few who knew at least a little something, like myself. We watched those cycles, didn't we? And yes, it's been up, it's been down, it's been up, and it's been down. It's kind of kicked around again. Bitcoin was at 38,000, now it's up to 43,000. It's come back up. It could crash again. It could. But that's what I'm talking about. Useless regret. Oh man, if I had only done X. But they never learned to look for those moments. Oh, we'll probably never have another one like that again. You haven't been paying attention to your history, have you? Let's go with what's on your mind. Got the World, a 3 of coins, and an Ace of coins. So, lots to celebrate here. Lots of good thoughts, and they're focused on the physical right now. Let's start with the World, Chico, and everything in it. That is a big step up. That is one of the best problems to have. You have the World. Now what are you going to do with it? And that's the question. What exactly do you do when you have the World at your fingertips? That's a happily ever after ending following a difficult journey. So really, what are you regretting the most? Because whatever it is you're regretting, you're not learning from it. Because here, this is what learning brings you. It's okay to have regrets. Things you would have done differently, things you could have done differently, things you should have done differently. But the question is, do you learn from it? We got this nice little 3 of coins here. And I want you to notice these rather evil looking masks and this person over here dancing around like, haha. Oh, everybody's mad at that one. Right? But there's a celebration going on. A big one at that. But this is where things get collaborative. Anytime you have a 3 like that, especially in the coin suit, that's collaborative effort. Because now we're learning from one another. You see these, seems I was wrong in the reading of this image, because this is from a folktale in India, or Tamang mythology from Nepal. The fierce Banjkari and Banjkarini teach their apprentice how to become a shaman. They are demanding teachers, but their student is dedicated, and all 3 put in hard work that pays off with the success of a new generation. Now, remember what I said about collaborative effort. Because this can be a very demanding teacher at times. Just because they are demanding, just because the rules may seem a little difficult for you to navigate, does not mean that they're impossible. The end result is that big old smile on the face. So really, this is what we're looking at, is the perception. So far, the perception of a happily ever after is going to have to come with hard work. It's going to have to come with team effort. It's going to have to come with you working with others. And here's the Jack and the Beanstalk moment. This is a new opportunity. Maybe that new opportunity comes as a blessing in disguise. Oh crud, I made a terrible financial decision. I made a terrible decision buying that one stock, or that crypto, man, it's just not working out. Let me tell you a few things. I've had moments like that. Man, I don't think this crypto is going to go anywhere. And you trade it for something else, and oh no, oh, it's doing even better than I thought it could. Oh no. Yeah, that can happen. But what did you learn from it? Are you still this right now? Or are you starting to see the possibilities here? Because the possibilities are there. Learning from those past mistakes, you don't have to be caged by them. Remember what that book just got through saying. This book just got through saying you do not have to be caged to your past. You don't have to be chained to it. Learn from it, then move forward. Do a little better for yourself. Believe one thing, ladies and gentlemen, life is not that difficult. It really isn't. And it only becomes more difficult if you make it that way. So, let's get into the physical. What's going on here? We have King of Wands, Death, and an Eight of Wands. Now, the Pluto returned to the United States last week. It symbolizes destruction and rebirth. Remember the last time it happened, and this was a once in a lifetime kind of a thing. The last time it happened was on July 4th, 1776, when we declared independence from Great Britain. So, what does that have to do with this? Well, the answer is very simple. The King of Wands here is like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The phoenix burns and then comes back. We too can come back from death. Now this, being the center card to this entire reading, is extremely powerful for one thing. No, you're not going to die. What this means is that the old things have to pass away. Okay? There's an old saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone, right? Let me tell you, there are a whole bunch of people in the tabletop role-playing circles. They reminisce about the good old days. They reminisce about this system or that system and why they love that system over this newer thing, or why they never could get on board, why they only consider this one true, whatever it was they were playing. That's because those rules are largely gone from today, and the systems have been kind of dumbed down to the point where they make everybody a winner when winning was never the point. Oh, but they don't discriminate against anyone. I'm sorry, orcs? Really? A warlike group of creatures who are inherently evil. By the way, J.R.R. Tolkien modeled the orcs after the Nazis. Great Britain had just come out of a war. He drew on inspiration from Norse and Celtic sources, amongst others. But the orcs were representative of the Nazis. Racist indeed. And then we have Eight of Wands. Somehow, I think this, for all those creative, inspirational opportunities, are going to come up fast, and life is going to come at you fast. So this is extremely important. And we see it all the time in here. And that particular, this particular piece of art here reminds me of a story that the raven's feathers were once white. But in order to take fire for humankind, the raven ran in and grabbed maybe a twig or two just to deliver fire to humans. The fire and soot stained the raven's feathers. It also made the raven, whose singing voice was very beautiful, now hoarse, so that the raven could only caw. It sacrificed its beauty and physical voice in order to bring us fire. And that's why it's not bitter about it at all. And I just looked this one up. Here we go. Rainbow crow, North America Lenape legend. Now it's disputed. But the Eight of Wands represents quick and decisive actions. The rainbow crow flies quickly to deliver warmth to the cold earth below, singeing his wings in the process. His sacrifice and swift journey are fruitful. Yeah, I recognize that one. I'm half tempted to go grab that Beneath the Moon book and actually pull it out and read the one page that's there. As a matter of fact, I think Keely in our tribe brought this one up. But I think that in the story the feathers were white. In this one the feathers are rainbow colors, so who knows? I think it's why it's disputed. Finally, in the spiritual, we have Judgment, we have a Ten of Coins, and we have a Knight of Wands. Boy, the wands are just coming out of the woodwork today. We got coins, we got wands. Imaginative but grounded ways of doing things. So, let me tell you a little bit about these cards. What I'm seeing here. The first thing you have to do is you're going to have to emerge from your dark hiding place. This is not a time to be the hermit. This is a time to emerge and be seen. And even though the monkey there is carrying a walking staff, that could be counted as a wand. Stepping out, seeing that light, or possibly even being it for someone else. Ten of Coins, we're remembering what's important, and what's important is family. Whether biological or adopted, this is important. You need those connections. And finally, this from a Norwegian fairy tale. A literal fairy here. This one is about going out and getting what it is that you think you deserve, working for it. Spiritually, you do have gifts. Are you developing them? Because with that Knight of Wands, that is a fearless fighter eager to charge into battle, especially if it means defending someone he or she loves. Reckless and unafraid, Tatterhood grabs what she wants to claim, which is the future she desires. So those spiritual gifts, how are you developing them? How are you getting what you want out of this? Are you spiritual to the point where you're just fearless and unafraid? Be careful, because it can also make you reckless. Don't get reckless. So let's do a little summary. Number one, you're going to have to learn from all those terrible things that happened to you before. You're going to have to learn from them. What are the lessons you're taking away from them? You know, there's a Biohazard song. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is now. I can't remember the name, but anyway. It was from the album Urban Discipline. It's one of my favorites. And I think it was from the song Urban Discipline too. Because they said, the ways of urban life are not as they seem. Standing up and fighting is what living here means. In order to survive, you've got to earn your respect. The only lessons that you learn are from things that you regret. Yep, that was from the song Urban Discipline, come to think of it. Great song, great album. I suggest you check it out, especially if you have something like Spotify. You can go and listen to it. But you're going to have to learn from those regrets. Whatever it was you regret, you're going to have to start learning from it immediately. Start grabbing those lessons, because guess what? Your biggest regret is going to be that those times are long gone. And look at these two birds here. They're both flying in opposite directions. They're pulling in opposite directions. Do you know why? This one's facing the past, and this one is facing the future. You will have to make sacrifices, but those sacrifices will pay off. Whatever it is that you have to make sacrifices, you're making those for others right now. Those will absolutely light you up. They will not, they're going to seem, remember we said about blessings in disguise with that Ace of Coins, it's going to seem rather strange, but believe one thing, a lot of us, no one on the planet that I'm aware of will object to being hailed as the hero or heroine. You may be the hero of your family right now. That alone should decrease any fear you have. It is about being fearless and bold. So go be fearless. Go be bold. And stop giving a straight damn what someone else thinks. If it mattered, they would be supporting you. Remember, this is mind over matter. Those who matter don't mind. Those who mind don't matter. A rather strong message today, but a good one. And I thank you for joining me for this message. I love readings like this. The readings that'll even hold up a mirror to someone like myself, because I can see some things in here that pertain to me as well. Sometimes we need to look in the mirror and realize we're the person standing in our own way. That we're letting fear decide for us. We're holding on. We're gripped too tightly to the past. Sometimes we are. Sometimes old school is just damn better. Like shaving with one of those single blade safety razors, for example. That's how I keep my head nice and smooth. Sometimes though, gets a little those blades get a little aggressive sharp and I end up cutting myself, but you know what, small price to pay. Sometimes old school is just better, but it's important not to be dogmatic. That's the key thing. Wander out. Be fearless. Be bold. Do what you do. And just remember, I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up. And as always, shine on.